Hi all, this is Professor Collins, and this is the Excel workshop. And so today in the Excel workshop we'll be talking about independent sample t-test, or what's also known as the two-sample t-test. And this can be confusing because there's also the paired sample t-test, which is also it's somewhat similar. So just be sure you understand the difference between the two. So for today, what we're going to be doing is calculating and interpreting independent samples t-test using Excel, of course. And the use of the independent sample t-test, what we're doing conceptually in this situation is we're testing the mean difference in some continuous dependent variable, across two independent samples. So we're asking ourselves the question, is sample A significantly different than sample B on some outcome variable, on some dependent variable, right? So oftentimes it's something like males versus females, basketball players versus baseball players, right? Something like that. So that's what we're doing in this case. And these categories are considered the independent variable. So we have our 5 steps here. We state our assumptions, and these are normal across all the different types of t-tests. State our null and research hypothesis, establish our critical region, and the two we're going to focus on for the workshop here is computing the test statistic and interpreting our results. And so let's go over here to the raw data and see what we have. All right, now let's think that. Let's just set a scenario here. So let's say I manage a Kohl's store, a Kohl's department store, and I have a good friend who manages a Target store. And what I'm interested in is, let's say we have a friendly wager that over the winter holidays, we are going to see whose store has the most sales, right? And so here our dependent variable is sales per day, right? And so this is sales per day. And then as you see, we have each day, right? Day 1, day 2, all the way down. And we will go for 2 weeks, okay? And as you see how the data is set up here, you have Kohl's on one side, and under it is Target, right? And we have 14 entries for each, right, representing each of those 14 days of the 2 weeks. And then we also have the sales for each of those days. So here our research question is, are the sales over the holiday season different for competing Kohl's and Target stores? Now the key here is different, right? For us, different indicates a two-tailed test. We don't want a one-tailed test because it's not stating a direction. It's not stating that Kohl's will sell more or less than Target. It's just stating that there's a difference between the two. So in our first step, we state our assumptions, right? And those are standard. And we need to state our null and research hypotheses. So our null hypothesis basically says Kohl's is equal to Target. They do not sell any differently. However, the research hypothesis is that Kohl's is not equal to Target. So Kohl's sales are not equal to Target sales. But again, we're not trying to say which direction. Now we go down here and we establish our critical region, right? And because we say different, we don't say it's non-directional. We're using a two-tailed test, alpha level of 0.05 as we typically do. Our degrees of freedom, 28 minus 2 for independent sample t-test, which is